Two Deer is a short story written by Count Leo Tolstoy, a famous Russian writer and master of realistic fiction. This story is an adaptation from an episode in Guy de Maupassant's work in French. This story deals with the failure of an administrative system that fails to carry out the death sentence awarded to a criminal. The King of Monaco ruled a tiny kingdom with a small population of about 7,000. In that kingdom, he was a real kinglet. He had a palace, courtiers, ministers, a bishop, generals, and an army too. However, he had very limited sources of income to run his kingdom. A tax on tobacco, wine and spirits, and a poll tax. These sources were not sufficient, so he found a new source of special income. That was a gaming house where people played roulette. This was the only place in the whole of Europe where people would come to play. Thus, the king started to make profits. The king knew very well that the gambling was a dirty business. He also understood that taxes on drink and tobacco for revenue was not a good idea, but he had to do it to run the kingdom. It was all fine until once a man committed a murder. The king had never had any incident of murder till then. The judges awarded the death sentence to the criminal, but it was not easy to carry out the death sentence. Monaco had neither a guillotine nor an executioner, so they requested the government of France. It agreed to send the requirements for the sum of 16,000 francs. This meant more tax on people. So the king requested help from the King of Italy, who agreed to provide the requirements at the cost of 12,000 francs. But the king couldn't afford the expenses, so the death sentence was altered to imprisonment for life. Life imprisonment had its own problems. A guard had to be placed to watch the criminal and provide him with food. At the end of a year, the king checked the accounts and noticed a new item of expenditure, which was to keep the criminal. The cost came to be 600 francs, which would still require an increase of taxes. So he decided to dismiss the guard. Although the guard was dismissed, the prisoner did not try to escape, and he continued to stay in the prison. When he was asked why he did not run away, he said he was not willing to go out since they had ruined his character by their sentence and that people would not accept him. Besides, he had lost touch with work. They had treated him very badly, so he did not want to go away. It was then agreed to offer him a pension of 600 francs. He was ready to accept on the condition that he would be paid regularly. He left the king's dominions after receiving 1/3 of his pension. He then emigrated and settled just across the border. He bought a bit of land and started market gardening. He always went to receive his pension at the proper time. After receiving his money, he would go to the gaming house and bet 2 or 3 francs. Sometimes he would win and at times would lose. However, he lived peaceably. Thus, the prisoner did not commit his crime in a country where they would not mind the expense to execute or to keep him in prison for life. Overall, the story shows how a ruler, like the kinglet, cannot handle a situation due to his lack of foresight, leading to a series of hurdles. With this, I conclude my video. Thank you for watching. Until the next video, goodbye.